Hey guys, Jordan Sather reporting for duty, Tuesday, June 4th. It's my last day here in Palm Springs, and I know many of you waiting for basically my statement or my version of events that went on this weekend at the Contact in the Desert conference here. I really stirred the pot, causing some glitches in the matrix, and I'll be getting to that within the next day or two, but that won't be here. As for this video, I really just want to cover a lot of what's gone on in this country and in this world over the past few days. So I've got a lot of tweets and articles and different topics that we're going to roll through rapid fire. So sit back, enjoy the show, and let's get started. Doosh. First of all, shout out to a sponsor of this channel in Virtual Shield. They offer a VPN or a virtual private network service. How do you use a VPN? Well, you download their app on your desktop or on your mobile and you surf the web through their app. How does that help you? Well, number one, it encrypts and protects your data. So whatever you send over the internet, that's going to protect. Number two, if you encounter any censorship, if you're blocked out of any websites, you can actually change your IP address with their VPN and be able to bypass that censorship and tunnel into the website. So it's extremely helpful to have for a few different reasons, and it's very cheap. Virtual Shield's VPN service is only $3 a month right now. So for $3 a month, you protect your data, you can bypass censorship. Sounds like a good deal to me. If you want to check out Virtual Shield, check the link in the description down below. Now let's get down to business. We're going to roll through a few really interesting tweets. This first one here is somebody that noticed in England right now. If you're unaware, President Trump is over in England meeting with the Queen, meeting with the Prime Minister, doing some stuff over there. And in the welcoming party for President Trump's motorcade, there was an individual that had a huge England flag. He put a little American flag also on it. I love it. Overseas partners. And then you can see he stamped a massive QAnon right there on it. In this tweet, the UK loves Trump, crowds cheering. Amazing stuff. I mean, this movement truly is worldwide, and it's incredible to see it bring different countries, bring different people from all walks of life together for a common goal. This is why the powers that be, or the powers that used to be, the deep state, do not like it. They're attacking it so hard because they don't want to see people unified. So incredible to see QAnon on the flag. Good stuff. Next tweet, let's take a look at James Comey. So over the weekend, James Comey made a tweet basically attacking Bill Maher, saying that the Attorney General shouldn't be echoing conspiracy theories, blah, blah, blah. But the important thing here is that in the first tweet he made, big ol' capital Q. Wow, James Comey with a Q in his tweet. That's not an accident. He deleted this tweet and he retweeted it without the Q, okay? Now, a lot of people, number one, are saying, well, this could be photoshopped, it could be faked, because they're seeing the tweet that James Comey retweeted without the Q, and they're thinking that it was faked or photoshopped or something like that. But you can actually go to the archive link, as journalist Ryan Saavedra posted here, and you can see that it's very real. There was a big old Q in James Comey's tweet. Okay, so let's now extrapolate. Why? Was this a message to Donald Trump or to Q team? Could have been. I think this could have also been a hint that James Comey might be singing, might be talking to authorities, right? Maybe that's what he was pondering in the forest. He's like, should I tattle on all my friends? Maybe. That could be why the Q was in his tweet. He deleted it and retweeted it. Just a simple hint, simple message, but it speaks volumes. So there you go. You can reconcile, extrapolate that on your own accord, but definitely intriguing. And then last tweet here, let's take a look at Bill Maher. So of all people, Bill Maher, over the weekend, tweeted this. Now, Hillary has a production company. If it's anything like her hard drive, she should crush it. Congrats. You finally found a calling lower than running a pedophile ring out of a pizza parlor. Holy crap. Did Bill Maher really tweet this? Yes, he did. I'll link all these tweets, all these articles down below. And a few things about this. Number one, it looks like they're all just throwing each other under the bus. I'm sure they are right now, trying to save their own skins and just throw their friends, all these deep state folk, under the bus. Number two, let's be real. Anybody that actually researches into Pizzagate and Comet Ping Pong and John Podesta, et cetera, nobody really believes that they ran the ring out of the pizza parlor. Okay, this is a common talking point that the mainstream media often shares that is false, and they claim this is what researchers are saying, so they can easily discredit it, right? So false talking point, but regardless, Bill Maher tweeting this, they're throwing their friends under the bus. And last thing here, by no means think that Bill Maher is a good guy. He's still got his production company that's called Kid Love Productions. You can search the IMDb for it. It's right there. He's also got his red shoes that he still wears from time to time, part of that Red Shoe Club. So by no means think that Bill Maher is a white hat or on the team of good. I think that all these bad folk are just throwing each other under the bus. So there's that. A lot of interesting tweets over the weekend. And now let's go through a few different articles on a few different topics. Let's bring up Julian Assange. So good news here, Assange will not face charges over the role in the Vault 7 drops in those CIA links. And I'm sure this has to do with the fact that the CIA does not want to admit that what WikiLeaks dropped through the Vault 7 drops is real. They don't want to admit that, so they don't want to charge Assange and then have to admit it's real. And, Assange, unfortunately, is still facing the charges that are looking to bring him back to the U.S., basically extradite him to the U.S. And I see a lot of people concerned that he's being charged for the Espionage Act, et cetera, but just remember this. If he does get extradited to the U.S. and he does end up in a court of law, what's he going to have to do? He's going to have to tell the truth, right? He's going to have to reveal what really happened with Podesta's emails coming out. How did they really get those? Was it the Russians? I don't think so. R.I.P. Seth Rich. So, we still want to keep Assange safe. We don't want to become complacent and think, oh, white hats are 100% in control. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So let's still sound the alarm. Let's still call for freedom of speech and a free press. But again, you got to think of this sort of multidimensionally. It could be just to bring Assange back home and get him to talk. So there's a few thoughts on that. Next story, how about this? Mueller probe witness George Nader. When I first saw this, I thought it said Nadler, but his name's George Nader. He was a Mueller probe witness, and he has been charged, publicly made known, that he was charged and arrested for trafficking child pornography. Big news here. This guy, he was a businessman. He cooperated with Special Counsel Mueller's investigation. His name appeared more than 100 times in Mueller's report. He was arrested yesterday on charges of transporting child pornography. So a lot of thoughts come to mind here. Number one, wow, he cooperated with Mueller's investigation. His name appeared more than 100 times in the report. What was Mueller actually investigating? What was his actual modus operandi? You can think of that, reconcile it on your own. Was it a big old sting operation? What were they actually investigating? And number two, here's a point that Fox News made in the article. The child pornography charges initially were filed in 2018, actually January of 2018, but were not made public until his arrest. So we're talking a sealed indictment filed in January 2018 that was just unsealed. And there's a lot more where that came from. I think the researchers that are behind that sealed court record count, they just released a new report and they stated it's now up over just 100,000, just over 100,000. That's a lot of sealed court records. A lot of those could be indictments such as this, filed a year and a half ago by maybe Huber or some of those investigators on Huber's team. Now they're getting unsealed. So there's a lot more where this came from. And big news. Child pornography, George Nader, wow, So very big stuff. This deep state's getting exposed. And last point on this, articles are saying that he has ties to former aides of President Trump, et cetera, So it's the art of warfare, guys. It's not to say that every single person in President Trump's administration is a good person. Maybe they're bringing people in to survey them, to keep them close, right? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. There's a lot of this sort of warfare tactics going on right now. So we have to think deeper into all of this stuff. And this George Nader being arrested is also huge news because of this right here. I'm going to plug Praying Medic's tweet. He posted this. Very good point. Remember this Q post from March 20th, 2019, just a couple months ago? Bill Clinton has his left arm around a man by the name of George Nader. Him right there, Bill Clinton is smiling with. And in that Q drop, they said, will the rich and powerful influence the court to prevent the unsealing? Follow the attorney who took the pic. I'm not sure who took this picture, but again, there's a lot more where that came from. You got Tony Podesta even right there next to George Nader, next to Bill Clinton, and who just got indicted for trafficking child pornography? George Nader. How the threads weave. I'm very excited to see what the next few months are going to bring. I think there's going to be some definite fireworks. Literally on the 4th of July, and figuratively by a lot of shit hitting the fan. Moving on to the next story. How about the internet? Basically like half the internet going down over the weekend. A lot of people noticed that their YouTube wasn't loading, and as Zero Hedge reports right here, it was Google Cloud affecting Gmail, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. It's kind of scary, right? If you look at the Google Cloud, what does that basically mean? Well, CIA cloud. And you're looking at all these massive big tech companies involved with that Google/CIA cloud. Gmail, YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, mysteriously and almost unprecedentedly went offline. So if we're talking about tech that's very closely linked to the CIA, I mean, there's a couple options that we have as to why this happened. Was it a good guy attack on some CIA servers? Maybe. Were the bad guys trying to scrub a bunch of their data? In recent days, we've had a lot of talk as to antitrust investigations and lawsuits being brought forth against some of these big tech companies, so I would not be surprised if they purposely made their own servers, quote, go down mysteriously and then start scrubbing that data. Could have been. But regardless, big stuff happening. And then good point here is archive stuff offline. Q has told us this. It's just good to do, period, is if you find YouTube videos, if you find memes, if you find stuff like that, download it, rip it, put it on a hard drive that's not connected to the internet. You know, I go back and look for videos that I watched 2 or 3 years ago on YouTube. I'm like, man, I really want to watch this video about this particular topic, and I go search for it, can't find it. Okay, the algorithms that they have are always stuffing down good information, swiping them off the internet. So right when you find something, I wish I would have done this a lot more in the past, right when you find something good, download it, rip it, archive it, save it. Next topic, moving on into DeepFakes. We've been hearing a lot about this in recent days, DeepFakes. So the House Intelligence Committee, it's funny that it's the House Intelligence Committee. You know, the House seems to have a lot more deep state influence in it right now than the Senate. So the House Intelligence Committee is holding a hearing on June 10th, in about a week here, that will focus on the threat posed by, quote, deep fakes, okay? Now, if you remember, this really started coming out into the public about a year ago, year and a half ago. It was the New York Times, I think, that put the first article out that initiated this push into the collective consciousness of what they're calling, quote, deep fakes. The idea that videos can be manipulated by artificial intelligence to look deceptively authentic. And this deep fake idea has just been going around everywhere the last few days. Obama, he's doing this like speaking tour around the world. He was in Brazil and then Ottawa, Canada. Pretty much everywhere he's at, he's warning about these deep fakes. Not just that, but multiple articles all over the news. This one here that came out in the Hill just a few hours ago. Will a deep fake be the Comey moment in 2020? Here's one on Axios. Came out today again. The 2020 campaigns aren't ready for deep fakes. You know, the mainstream media getting their secure drop talking points from the CIA this morning, really trying to make everybody aware of deep fakes. Why is that? Well, of course, the powers that used to be the deep state, they want to get ahead of any sort of story. So if there were to be incriminating evidence that dropped, that leaked out against the deep state by way of photos or videos of them, etc., they're pushing out this deep fake narrative right now, so that's what they can claim. They can claim, oh, it's a deep fake, that's not actually me, Hillary Clinton might say, or John Podesta might say, oh, that's AI that hackers or, Russian agents or trolls on 8chan, They're going to put that twist in there. They're going to either blame it on Russia, they're going to blame it on people on 8chan, hackers, whatever they need to, and just say, oh, they're using AI to make this video about me. It's not real. So that's why we're seeing all this deep fake nonsense fly around. Be aware of that. Very important to be. Q has noted this before when the New York Times first dropped that deepfake article a year and a half ago. So it's just, once you open your eyes, once you rub them, open up your pineal gland, your third eye, all this just becomes so clear to see. Now let's move on to vaccines and then finish up with UFOs. So the governor of California, might have a lot of issues, the dude, but at least he says this. So good on him for saying that he has doubts about tougher vaccine rules. We have a bill going through California right now that some corrupted folks in the state are trying to pass, where they are trying to make it so doctors don't sign off on medical exemptions for people trying to avoid vaccines. It has to be government bureaucrats that are going to do it. So that would make it extremely tough for people to get medical exemptions for vaccinations. But Gavin Newsom said that he has some doubts about that. He has concerns about enacting tougher rules that limit doctors from granting those medical exemptions for children's vaccinations. So got to give him props here, whether he's just trying to pander to votes, because there's sure a lot of people in California that aren't happy about that Senate bill going through there. Whether he's pandering to votes, I don't even care. This just shows the power of the people, the power of collective intent. When a lot of people come together and voice their concerns, make it known, it forces the political puppets to side with the people. Okay, so that's what you need to know. Good news there. And how about a little bit of censorship news? So Instagram censored the hashtag vaccine injury hashtag. If you go to Instagram and look it up, it says posts for vaccine injury have been limited because the community has reported some content may not meet Instagram's community guidelines. Big pharma control right here over social media. And like we pointed out a minute ago, CIA, intelligence agency influence over social media. So they're just trying to scrub all the evidence they can for their big pharma sponsors, just for the deep state in general, and they don't want people to know that vaccines can maim, they have maimed, they can kill, they have killed, and they are dangerous. So this is more modern day book burning we're seeing about vaccines among just all the topics that they're trying to censor, right? So again, important to archive content, download it offline. Amazon, as we know, has been censoring a lot of content on their platforms having to do with health lately, whether that's vaccines or whether that's chlorine dioxide. So very important to collect the data. And then an opinion out of the New York Times, one of the biggest fake news newspapers we have, when defending vaccines gets ugly. They posted this a couple of days ago, and they featured this gentleman. His name is Dr. Peter Hotez. They're claiming that he's devoting his career to making vaccines more widely available, as if they're not widely available enough. I mean, just go to like a Fred Meyer or an Albertsons, any big box store that has a pharmacy. You literally see signs that say, you can get your flu shot for $0. Some stores literally give you a gift card to the store. I've seen some stores like Walmart say that they're going to give a gift card if you go get their vaccine. So they're so widely available, it's sickening. But they're trying to play the victim card for Peter Hotez here. They're trying to give him some good PR and let him play the victor card here. He gets routinely attacked for it. He doesn't get attacked. What anti-vaxxers do is that they share so much information. And yes, they call out people who are shills when they are shills. And if you look into Dr. Peter Hotez, he's like the reincarnate of Paul Offit. Paul Offit, so many people know that he's a shill, that they needed a new face for their pro-vax shillery in the public. So over the last year or two, they've been rolling out Dr. Peter Hotez everywhere. All these mainstream media articles, but not just that. I mean, we saw Dr. Peter Hotez even on Joe Rogan. And he's really pathetic. Even on Joe Rogan was like, what is this dude talking about? Because Peter Hotez was saying, no, I don't focus on nutrition. I eat processed foods. I don't take any supplements, but we all need to get our vaccines to stay healthy. It's just absurd what he's saying. And it's all just a shill for Big Pharma, And it's not like he's getting death threats like this article claims, and if he is getting death threats, I wouldn't doubt if that was from a provocateur from a plant they put in there just to send him a death threat, just to run articles like this. You see, the sort of psyops in action. But no, like I said, anti-vaxxers, what they do is they share information, and they call out the people that need to be called out. It's not violent. People aren't violent. They're doing it for the betterment of everybody. Here's some education that you need, that they're trying to censor off social media, and they're exposing these shills for who they are, like Paul Offit, like Dr. Peter Hotez. He's so greasy. And now let's finish up with UFOs. Fox News posting this article. Former Blink-182 guitarist Tom DeLonge talks about his quest to prove aliens exist. It's really unfortunate to see just all the fake news getting their news wires and posting this talking point. You know, this goes to show you that some of what we hear from Fox News is good information when it comes to like Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson. There's a few, I believe, good-hearted people right there that are trying to get some truth out, but you can't believe everything on Fox News. They still post some fake news from time to time. Even Tucker Carlson having some folks on his show that are associated with Tom DeLonge and what I call this fake limited hangout, just half-truth UFO disclosure initiative. I think Tucker Carlson just unfortunately has to toe the line. It's probably his producers forcing him to do that or something to that effect. But regardless, Tom DeLonge, that whole To the Stars disclosure initiative, it's all nonsense. It's all, there's a lot of shady individuals like John Podesta and Harry Reid that are connected to it. So just be very careful what you're seeing in the mainstream media about UFOs. I was calling that out quite a bit at Contact in the Desert last weekend. Might be one thing that some people were upset about, but truth hurts sometimes. It's tough love, right? It's tough love. And next article. Why does the moon keep flashing us? This is going around too. You know, every day, a couple of articles I'm seeing about this. Moon flashes. So apparently, we have known about the mysterious flashes since at least the 1960s. And by we have known, they mean mainstream science has known, or at least what they've admitted since the 60s. So weird flashes, hundreds of them reported on the moon. And when I see that, frankly, I think of construction. I'm like, what's really going on on the moon since the late 60s? Secret space program construction. The time frame lines up pretty nicely. You know, the beginning of many of these black projects that had to do with anti-gravity. They could have been going to the moon since the late 60s in secret with some of these craft, building installations there. Could be the flashes, could be from us, man-made flashes. Maybe it's ET flashes. Maybe they're doing some construction on the moon. Again, there's so many possibilities here for these flashes, but nevertheless, they're seeding the public. This is in the mainstream. They're seeding the public with many of these big ideas. Oh, we found water throughout the cosmos, flashes on the moon. Here's these UFO videos from Tom DeLonge, all these sorts of things. And again, diversion, distraction with FISA abuses coming public, declassification coming, OIG reports. I mean, the deep state, they're desperate for diversions and distractions and anything that's going to help them cover their ass, okay? That's why we're seeing a lot of the stuff in the mainstream right now. And last thing I have for you guys, I just found this really weird article come out of Vox, and I think this is going to be one of the next psyops, one of the narratives they're going to start bringing out with all this UFO stuff. Headline here says, the new American religion of UFOs. Subheadline, belief in aliens is like faith in religion and may come to replace it. Again, very weird narrative that just really rubs me the wrong way. I don't vibe with it. And in fact, we need to sort of separate these topics and understand that, well, you can believe in UFOs and you can believe in a divine creative essence at the very same time. In fact, they sort of go hand in hand, right? But the deep state, the corporate media, they don't want you to think that. They want you to think they're totally separate and wash a lot of these spiritual ideas out while they're replacing a lot of these ideas with, twisted context. They're trying to replace spirituality and certain religious understandings with like a whole new form of just messed up, contorted beliefs. Belief in aliens is like faith in religion. I mean, that makes no sense. Belief in aliens is based upon evidence. Really, belief in anything is based upon evidence, right? When we look at the evidence, absolutely there's evidence for extraterrestrials and UFOs. And when you're thinking of divine spiritual forces call it God, whatever you want. We have evidence for that too. We have plenty of evidence. When we look at our DNA, when we look at sacred geometry, when we look at just the perfection of life, there has to be some creative force, right? So I follow the evidence, and the evidence to me shows me that ETs and UFOs are real. Good ETs and bad ETs, UFOs, that's a very general term for just craft can't identify. That unidentified craft could be man-made craft, could be one of their craft. And when it comes to spirituality, yeah, totally. There's plenty of evidence for divine forces here. I don't personify God. I don't think he's a dude or a person that's judging everybody, sending them to heaven or hell. I think there's a lot of religious dogma out there that, yes, does need to be replaced, but I don't want it replaced with whatever the heck the deep state media is trying to replace it with. So anyway, there's my short rant on that. And we covered pretty much what I wanted to cover here, all of it. So thank you guys for watching. Again, I appreciate you, appreciate your support. I'll be back soon. Much more coming. Thanks, guys. Take care.